What's going on, people? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are Grown A Geeks, and we are here to talk about Ironheart, the season finale. We had the first 3 episodes last week and the final 3 episodes this week, and we're going to talk about how this story ended. Did you like it? Was it good? Was it great? Did Marvel stick the landing? Joining me tonight, we have the usual gang here to talk about some Ironheart. We got the Hood of Hate, RG Cashmere. Insert cool nickname, Miss Brandy. And my man, as always, Jeffrey JPNT 17. I'm Elder Geek Sam. What up, glitches? And we're going to get into it. Talking about some Ironheart. So, Ironheart, episodes 4 through 6. What y'all think? Was this a good show? Was the finale better than the intro? Did it all come together well? I think it was a fantastic show, start to finish. But I think they went out in a very interesting place because it did not give us a definitive setup for the future, but it gave us a good close to the story they told, and I'm happy with that. RG, I know you had some thoughts.
Really? You just want to start the show off on that kind of note?
I just want to start it off on that kind of note. Because honestly, I'm curious to see where it goes. So
I mean, it's a villain origin story to me. I don't know. They kind of turned it around from the direction I was really hoping it was gonna go.
Okay.
I kind of understand why people might would enjoy it, or I get what people see in the episode. It's just I didn't really want that. I wanted something to fully root for, to fully, I don't want to have to, I got to be really understanding during this show for me to fully enjoy it. It's things where, there's certain actions that she takes that I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't want this character. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
So, the reality is, they did a good job with the show. They did a good job with.
Hey, what's up, Miles? What's going on, Mr. Simmons?
Okay, they did a good job with how they, what they included in the show, right? They did get some aspects of it right. So it's not a total, hate fest, but. I don't know. I wanted it to. I really wanted to root for her fully, and it's just currently right now. If this is part of a full character arc, then I'm for it. Right? Like obviously, there's a lot of room for a redemption story here. The way it ended,
right?
Maybe it didn't end the way I would have hoped to, but then again, it's only fucking 6 episodes, so. We got to really watch some growth, and they did put a lot of opportunity for growth in the show. So that's where I stand. I didn't really want to set it off like that. So everybody,
we'll say better. We'll come around. We'll come back around to that because I needed to make some talking points. I needed some notes. Of course, I like to do the good, the bad, like what they did well, what they did wrong, and what we look for in the future. Since it's a finale, we have to how do we summarize the show? So we can start with any part of it. Jeff, Brandy, what did you all think? How were the second set of episodes, and then how did that combine for the whole show?
You want to go?
I mean,
you can go.
All right. I personally feel like Marvel stuck the landing, but the landing is not what I was expecting them to be going for. So I definitely expected a complete, kind of a nice little button on the end of this story, but I like that there was. The thing that Marvel did in kind of building up to Infinity War that I really liked was they did the henchman, boss lieutenant working for Thanos relationships as well. And so I really like that Marvel seems to be going back to this idea of like we got the mid-tier villain lieutenant who's like doing the bidding of this larger person. And so I like that she finished like with the henchman, but it set it up for like what her battle is going to be moving forward. I think that it was well acted, even though it did not go the direction that I thought it was going to go. I like what they decided to do. And I think it's also making, I think it's just opening itself up for a lot more interesting things. And because I enjoyed this show, I'm excited to see like more. Could imagine if someone who didn't like this show saw this, they would be fine with, they would have just been fine with her beating the hood and not any of the other stuff that comes after. But I think it was a good introduction to Mephisto for the like nerds. I loved the black magic scene. I was one episode off of my seance prediction, but but you
I
know,
immediately thought about that.
so yeah, I think even in the rhythm of like how they were telling the story, even um some of the things that like we were talking about last week, I really wanted to um make sure I was paying attention to see. RG, I know we talked a lot about like the character development or lack thereof, or kind of lack of world building. And I was trying to pay a lot of attention to that, and I thought that they did a good job of like filling in gaps. And so it was like by the end of that episode arc, I felt like I knew what her relationship to the city was, to her tribe, to all this other stuff, until, you know, whatever we see at the end. I don't want to, I mean, I know it's a spoiler, but we haven't gotten to like the plot talk yet. But
right.
I think up until that point, we do see Riri building her world and it being less fragmented because she's deciding to like let people in. And then I also thought about one of the comments that our comment participant from last week put up, which was like truths are supposed to be universal. And because when we were talking about how like black the show was, and like there are certain things that happen in the show that happen because Riri is black. And I just kind of was thinking about, everything that Riri went through in the show. I think, dealing with trauma is a very universal experience.
Right.
I think feeling inadequate. I think, not grieving lost loved ones. I think isolationism is a huge universal like truth or problem that people are dealing with. So even though like the authenticity of the show was super high because it did do well to represent the environment that it was set in, I push back on the narrative that people often associate with like black stuff in the nerd space, in that like the truths that they're dealing with are not universal truths because there's racism or sexism or all these other isms that don't make like that don't make sense for people to like keep around. But
right.
I think that, I appreciate that comment because it did like make me think about like, well, is this just some black people shit? And if it is, I'm fine with that too. But I just, when I hear somebody say about black culture, which doesn't make sense because everything American culture is just stolen black culture for the most part. But when people talk about it in a way that it's like exclusionary, it baffles the mind because it's just not possible. Nice. So yeah, I appreciated the show. I liked how it ended, and those are just some of my existential takeaways from watching the show.
Okay, yeah, no, we're gonna deep dive some parts.
To your point, I think a lot of, I would say, Caucasian, but also just in general, people who are not black, They don't like that race comes up in our entertainment because they don't understand that that is our real life every day. Because they
Right.
don't have to deal with that. They don't have to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like in a way that we do every day.
That is legitimately a part that's not so much universal, and so it
Right.
is hard for other
So
people to relate to
when
something
they're
that
like,
doesn't
why it
affect them.
always has to be about race, and it's like it's not about that, but it does permeate a lot of our interactions with people, what we do, how we do, where we do it at. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
It's like
it
My
I
tail's
found the
yours,
easiest
whether
nigga.
way.
we
The
That is
easiest way I
Ariana.
found to explain it to somebody one time is the percentage or the number of times that I'm going to have to deal with a racist situation is low, but it's never zero.
right.
And it's that part that I think
So
it's
we
that
have to do
never
things to
zero.
mitigate that all the time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? All the time, from the way that we identify ourselves to people, to the way that we communicate, to how we present, it permeates everything. So I think that part is what people get hung up on. Is why do we have to bring that into it? And it's like, because it doesn't even have to be the focus of anything. It's just the idea or the indication of it, and they get upset, and it's like that wasn't even they didn't even, you know what I mean? Like they
It's
didn't
also like,
even,
did we bring it into it?
right.
Was it us?
Because he said
Because
black people.
I remember.
You were like,
I
wait,
re-
wait, wait. So not me? You were not saying what's up to me? I'm watching the
right.
show. Could it not be
Right.
up? What's up with
Right.
people? Why couldn't they just say people?
It's like I'm remembering this differently.
And
Right.
usually it's not only am I remembering it differently, I'm seeing it differently, I'm interpreting it differently, and I'm feeling it differently. And if I can't relate to those moments immediately, if it's not something instinctively inherent to my experience, it's foreign.
Right.
And it's that feeling of foreign that's like, well, what is this? Like it's that immediate,
It's like
But
there's a whole world going on around you, beside you,
well,
and you have no clue that
right.
any of it is happening right under your nose. And I think for to some degree that leads not to a level of comfort before a lot of people, but for to a level of like insecurity, because it's
Discomfort,
like
yeah.
you're not as aware of your surrounding as you thought you were.
Right.
Mm.
yeah.
And
And
I
that can
don't
that
like
can
that. I don't like the way that makes me feel. So it's bad.
right. I
Everything
was about
about
to
it is
say, and
bad.
that's
It's all
that's
bad.
the problem.
It's all bad.
So
Everything. I don't care.
so Brandy, got
Um,
my take overall, got RG, got Jeff. What did you think? How did you feel
I
about 4, 5, and
I will
6?
say I think they stuck the landing. And the reason I say they stuck the landing is because very much like Moon Knight, now I want to know what happens next.
Mhm.
And I did not expect to want to know what happens next. Like Jeff said, I thought this was just going to be cute and Anthony Ramos, and yeah, maybe they would have an M on the wall or something, and Mephisto, you know what I mean? Like, and
Mhm.
right, like, and okay, she builds the suit and
And
moving
he
on.
was in it, not just a camera. He was in it. He had
Sa-
lines,
Sam,
said words.
I really enjoy the characters. I really enjoy the little girl who played Zelma. I
Yes,
really enjoy Mephisto, and I am not a Sacha Baron Cohen fan. When they said he was going to be in it, I was like, here we go, because he's usually so crazy, and that is
so
not
over the top.
Teresa don't like
With
shenanigans,
the
and
foolishness.
I
Right.
don't
She
like
don't like foolishness.
whatever it is that he does. I don't like Borat. I don't like
Yeah.
whatever the model or whatever. He don't do it for me.
Bruno.
Um,
Yes, it's Bruno.
yo,
right.
Bruno.
I'm good. I'm good on that. I'm good on Ali G. I don't care about him in Talladega Nights. He didn't make that movie for me. Like he just
No.
does not do it for me.
Damn, fuck
However,
him as a stab record label and a crew.
I mean, hey, we all got our somethings. But
Nothing wrong with that.
however, comma, he was
Okay.
awesome in this. I thought
Yeah.
that he looked great. I liked I don't know a lot about y'all know I just know what I see. I
Let me,
loved his look. I thought he
yeah.
looked the part. I just liked his demeanor. He was very what I would expect someone who makes Faustian bargains, and you know what I mean?
Got
He
you.
was
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much that, and I appreciated him for that. He didn't do too much, you know. Um
Sorry. Be back.
I liked Anthony Ramos. I liked his story. I don't know that we needed it, but I appreciated it. Like why how he got to, um the bringing the AI was really interested. Like I was interested. The
Yeah.
Star Trek, the Spock, oh, like oh my
What?
little heart. You know what I mean? Like I was interested in a way that I really kind of wasn't the first three.
Mhm.
So I think they did a really good job with these last three. I just feel better about it. And I did like the way that it ended, even though I am now like it's
Right.
like
See, and that's kind of why I made my comment that it did not close in a way that there's a lot of options for what they could do for season two.
right.
I mean, the door is wide open, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like the show closed as if they were setting up a season two. Like they didn't have a direct arrow
No.
pointing to what's next. And much like you said, it left me wondering, like, okay, so now what? Because the one little teaser we got, you know what I'm saying, when she's hugging Nat, and then we see the little
Yeah,
the little
yeah.
bit on the arm. I'm like, oh, and so of course now I'm like, well, we got to explore that, right? We got to get into
Yeah.
that because that's going to be a whole monkey's paw. Like, wait a minute, Nat's here, and obviously, like, we didn't see anybody shake, but why would the thing be? So it's like they're giving us so much with what they could do, but who would she be going up against in season two? Like, what would be her journey in season two? And what's really interesting is as I look at all the discourse that takes place regarding the character Riri, it's like it reminds me of that image I've seen online 1,000 times where like the guy's digging the tunnel and he's like turned away from the tunnel and the prize is right on the other side of the dirt wall. It's like if y'all watched episode 1, 2, and 3, it was like, yo, this is not it. Y'all missed out. You gotta watch because everything you had to complain about in the first half,
Resolved.
it's right here.
Yeah.
It's right
I feel
here. Because we got a chance to see, and this is something that like really stood out to me. And I've been thinking about this since last week, actually. I could not understand for the life of me why everybody had such a problem with Riri being super intelligent. This is the MCU where, well, I mean, I know, but it's follow me. Just follow me. Hold on, just
now,
follow me.
sir.
Because, but here's the thing: like, we can just accept based on comic books that Tony Stark is super intelligent. He just is because they told us. I ain't seen Tony Stark in not one classroom. I ain't seen Tony Stark studying. I've seen him doing science. I've
Yeah,
seen
they
Bruce
Dr.
Banner
Stark.
doing science. Do you know what I'm saying?
Stark.
I've
Peter
not
Parker.
had right. I've seen these people do science, but I've watched Riri do science. So why was I not able to just believe because you told me? And this RG, maybe you can help me with this because I know you have a problem with this type of stuff. But it's like in the comic books, in all comic books, we've only been told Tony Stark is a genius. We've been told that Reed Richards is a genius, that Hank Pym is a genius. We have a list of the 10 smartest people in the Marvel universe and in the MCU, et cetera, et cetera. And it's all just been because they said they were smart. That's it. Just because that is who that character is. That character is a smart person and they deal with things intellectually. That is how they resolve issues. That is how they fight and win their battles. I don't see what the problem is with Riri being a smart person and being someone who deals with their problems intellectually. And it just being because it's a comic. Because at no point in this show did I feel like Riri was taking over Iron Man or trying, or even trying to damn be a hero. Like, that's the thing that I thought was most interesting. By the end of this series, Riri is not a hero. She is not going to save the day. She is fixing her problems.
Yeah.
Right.
She is resolving her issues.
Mhm.
And when she has the conversation with her mother about why she built the suit,
Yeah.
I was so happy because that was such a pivotal moment, I feel, for that character and for not really the development of that character, but for the justification. And I hate that there even has to be justification, but for the justification of that character. She did it because she could. We live in a world where Obadiah Stane is considered a genius. We have Zeke Stane. There's a lot of smart people building. Wasn't nobody phased by even seeing the suit
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
because they've seen that. Like, obviously, that's a thing that can happen. And I was watching another. I was watching another coverage over the first 3 episodes, and one of the big things they keyed in on, and it was a revolving theme in this, was how she powers the suit. The arc reactor that Tony Stark made was the like his Nobel Prize creation. And it was the creation of the arc reactor that powered the suit that they were trying to figure out for the Ironmonger suit. That they were trying to figure out when Whiplash built his suit, he basically built another version of the arc reactor because it was the guy that was the other scientist. It was his dad. She came up with a way to power her suit with solar power and wind power because she's smart, and that was the way that she could power her suit, figuring out a basic problem. So making the suit wasn't super impressive for anybody. The fact that she could power it is the part that they needed to give her kudos for. Nobody's impressed by seeing the suit. They're used to that. Those suits obviously exist. And they've seen, like, hell, what Iron Man 3, my man had what, 45 suits flying around the building?
Right.
And that's like that goes into too like the big thing everybody kept complaining about, like her being like, if I had what Tony Stark had, I'd be able to do what I needed to do. And then they were showing the Obadiah Stane thing where he's like, Tony Stark built this in a
Yeah, I
cave with
saw
some
those.
scraps. And it's like, well, first of all, the suit that he built in the cave with some scraps flew about
Right.
6 miles. Like
There
It
you
had
go.
one
that
one
thing
flight.
was not long for this world. And when he got back to America, he got back into his state of the art,
Right.
high
Where he
tech
had
lab.
money and access, and that's when he built the
We
suit.
still got a montage.
Secondly, we've already seen what Riri can do when she has unlimited resources in Wakanda forever. So it's not just like I get like that is a thing that like the old head at the park says I could have went pro if I would have just. It's like, all right, no, we've seen Riri do this, so like let's not act like she can't do this. And the reality of it is they are bothered by the fact that she's able to just do it.
Right.
And they have to, it's the meritocracy that they claim to want to be a part of, but then as soon as like anybody does anything equal, you know what I'm saying? Like we never seen we just accepted that Spider-Man is like a genius. And I mean that sure that came in handy when it was time for him to make web fluid.
Right. And iron suit.
Right. So
when he designed his own
she's
suit.
not jealous of Tony Stark. She's not trying to like besmirch his legacy. It doesn't take anything. I'm sure Tony Stark will also agree that if more people who had her talent had those resources, that they would probably be able to do great things. Which is why there's a scholarship that she even So,
but it's any reason to critique, to have something negative to say, and to down the show, they were going to jump on it. And when you look at the fact that that is such a small, minute, it was literally a sentence in a throwaway conversation that didn't even have anything to do with the plot.
Right.
But that was the one thing that they managed to find that they could get offended over. Because God forbid something black is happening and somebody don't have an attitude about it. We're gonna find a reason to be offended, and this is the reason. We're going to deliberately misunderstand something and then take it completely out of context to turn it into something else. And I mean, in all actuality, it's so silly. You know what I mean? It's such a silly because look at and I think it's because Wakanda is not real. So Shuri is not really a threat. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's not real. Riri is based in reality. And everybody know like the way that people are
Ooh,
like
the fantasy
everybody
side
knows
versus Chicago.
y'all aren't like that. Like they want to like the main takeaway that I've gotten in conversations that I've had is everybody knows that y'all aren't smart like that. Everybody knows that you couldn't do that. Everybody knows that you wouldn't be able to do that, regardless of how many of us who have.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
is, when I tell you, I'd be so happy to have these conversations because then I can go into conversations and be like, and let me tell you something else.
Right.
So I got into it. Well, I got into an exchange with a dude who was like, and this, that, and that, and they're just pandering and blah blah blah, you know. And I was able to be like, actually, sir, let me school
Okay.
you. Like I know what I'm talking about. But I explained about how the Peter Parker story is actually Riri's, and if you like that story between him and Iron Man, then you shouldn't have a problem with Riri because it's literally the same story, right?
Right.
This is that character. How can it be pandering if this is a character who has been in comic books? This isn't a new character they just invented. You
Right.
know, like all the
Right.
good
This is
points,
yeah.
right?
Right.
And then he came back. You just missed the subtext. Oh, is that what I missed? Okay, I consider this a
Uh,
victory, sir, because you
um,
couldn't even come back with an insult, and I appreciate that. So thank you guys
he was
for
like,
letting me know.
and your shirt got a catch and stain.
Yep.
Hmm.
Want to bring one of our other regulars back to the stage. We got Miss Teresa. How to be
Hey,
TK? What's going on,
how was the
Teresa?
show?
Um, it's going.
Did you were
How's the
actually out at a premiere tonight?
the
You went to go
movie? Yeah,
see
how was the movie?
Jesus.
is that a good or bad?
I'm
She's
stressed
just
out.
so
No, I went to see Jurassic
Jurassic.
World Rebirth.
Nice.
okay.
Yeah, so not a
And
premiere. It I think it technically starts. It's a holiday week, so I think it technically started today.
Thursday.
So yeah,
Okay.
No,
and it was
that
good.
wouldn't normally release. Well,
It was good. You liked
early
it?
screening is
You
typically
know
on
Scarlett's
Wednesdays.
in it. I'll go see anything if Scarlett's in it.
First showings are
Yeah,
Thursday,
and
and then they get the
Mahershala.
weekend rush.
Yeah.
Got
Do you like
Mahershala
it?
and
Like, where would you put it
I
in all the
enjoy.
Jurassic Parks?
I think it's better than the other Jurassic World
Mhm.
properties
Okay.
because to me
Yeah.
they've been pretty not good. Um,
Right.
but I think this one was better. It was extremely suspenseful though, very edge of your seat, and that may not have been a good. I might not be in a good headspace for that because I'm already stressed out, and that I mean I could feel my heart really pounding. That was stressing me
Yeah.
out even worse.
Yeah.
see now
So
that
That's
would
how I felt
actually
watching Squid Game. I'm telling you, it's bothering my anxiety.
that would
yeah,
hold my attention so much better to have that like to oh my god like what's gonna happen like that. I thrive on that, and whenever
yeah.
I have that in something, that's when you have my full undivided attention. If I
Well,
can, because I'm already like I can't help it. I'm already trying to figure everything out, and I will say that we did a really good job calling this series. I think we literally spoke episodes 4, 5, and 6 because I called Joe McGillicuddy was going to be an adversary. I think I said not full villain, but he was going to be an adversary. And sure enough, and then my man got hacked on top of that. That was a shame. I hated that for him, but I see exactly how that went. And there was actually a lot of suspenseful moments in these episodes. Like this is one of those rare instances where I could honestly say that I felt real danger. I mean, it's like I'm watching episode was it 5? I think it was 5 when everybody's coming after Riri and she's like in the
Riri.
diner and stuff. She's in White
Yeah.
Castle.
Yeah.
I know it's 6 episodes. So on the one hand, like clearly nothing's gonna happen. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know how they gonna do this. Like, can you do an episode without her? Not really. So she's gonna be in it. But man, they really had me wonder how she was gonna be in that episode. Because I thought for a moment it was getting pretty tense. I was really happy with Clown. And we were debating. I was talking with the wife, got her to sit down with me. She called the dad. And that was a plot twist I didn't see coming. But when they went back to like something told me when hold on, we've got a little bit of a change here. Let me help Jeff out there. Boom, sorry, bro. When he just covered his face up with the QR code. But when we had the when they showed him at the house at the beginning, and then later in the episode he goes back to the house. My wife was like, that must be like his dad. And then sure enough, they get to talking and it's like super casual for a dude that's obviously come to rob you. Like you a little too calm. And so it was like, it's like, I need you to be a little more panicked. Need you to be a little more panicked. And she called that accurately. So, and Jeff called the seance. And so it was, while this was a very formula driven series, it hit all the dots just like I expected it to do. I still think that they hit all the key points and they added a nice little bit of intrigue and how was this going
I
to
didn't
work?
expect so much magic.
Went full
Right,
in.
me either.
Yeah.
And it was so great to have, like you said, Zelma and Cree coming back to reprise her. Like
that scene,
I just adore
that
her.
scene.
I need
that
to see
scene
more
was
of her.
That scene was incredible. Like the
Yeah.
way that they just, it was just like, I feel like it had everything. That whole scene, the way that they transitioned through the magic was fascinating to me because it was just literally like they transitioned in the scene just like us, and everybody's just like, "Well, y'all witches for real?" Like I thought, because you could tell the mom was like, "Wait, I thought you just wear a crystal, burn some sage."
Like some crystals,
Bro, you
right?
was really doing spells.
hello, girl. Whoa,
Like, girl, I
wait
know
a
him
minute.
personally. I'm on his speed dial. You got me messed up.
But I think it was interesting to see almost, this is the first time you kind of see a tech hero or tech character embrace magic versus like say, oh, well, it's just science that we don't understand, like Peter Parker said, or, Iron Man, he was all about the science of the Infinity Stones and all that. So I think that it was interesting to see like the first tech character kind of say, I don't know what this magic is, but I do know that I can't build anything that's going to combat it. And I have to actually like succumb to the fact that magic is real. And
Can't explain it. Yeah.
yeah, and I have to get somebody, and that taps more into her having to get people to help her thing because she doesn't know magic. So then they have to bring in, Kree's daughter. What's her name? Zerlina?
Zelma.
Zelma. I don't know why I'm making up all kind of names for her. Zelma. And I think, that was a great cameo. She's getting her little ragtag team together that's going to be helping her. And, I think Zelma is a great addition to that because they kind of need each other. You could tell, like, Kree keep her at the shop for a reason because when she gets in the shit, she get into it. And, I think it was just fascinating watching how, like, just introducing magic almost just, like, changed the tone of the show. It's like, okay, now that we've accepted we're going to have to use magic, it's getting more serious. We're having real conversations with people. Riri's kind of getting more and more boxed in, I feel. And I think, culminating with the whole AI, in the junkyard and the brother scene, I think just like the way that it dealt with like so many of these things was exactly how you would expect for somebody to deal with it in real life. Like,
Yeah.
I see, like, I would definitely respond like that if, like, my dead family member was like an AI hologram and I didn't know anything about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm definitely gonna respond like that if I find out somebody on my team let my brother die and was like trying to betray me. And I'm definitely gonna respond like that if the leader of our gang, who's been talking about family, actually ended up killing one of these dudes behind our back once he was off the team. Like, it just felt like everybody's motivations were real and realistically written.
Yeah.
So, for the critiques of the show that you see, that's another one that I have to like dispel, because you can't say the show was poorly written. It was very complex. It had a lot of characters, it had a lot of things going on, and for them to be able to at least get to this point without it being confusing is a testament in of itself. You can nitpick any script, but at the end of the day, like, I think the job of I think about these titles like, what is the job of this in the larger scheme? And I think the job of this was to show how tech and magic can work together, which is partially why I think Robert Downey Jr. has been so like involved in the press run, because this is helping people kind of get, I think, their palette primed for like a Doom type character who uses tech.
Which I thought about, because magic
Techno
and the
wizard.
mech, that's a lot. Like, if she is becoming like a demon and she will have magic and her mech, her tech,
Yeah. She could be a
be a
real problem.
problem.
Exactly.
I mean, I think the world at this stage, that universe, it's acceptable. There's no aspects with the show. Like you said, Jeff, it's very well written. There's no issues with the writing on this show. The show to me does not have plot holes. It has aspects that it didn't go as deep as we might have hoped they did, but I haven't found a plot hole. I haven't really seen like this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. I don't understand why this is happening. This would never happen. I may not necessarily like root or want to see that certain course of action happen, but it makes sense why it's happening. I can't understand why it's happening. I'm not sitting up here going for most of the show, oh, this person would never do that, or this person would never do. No, I'll probably do that. You know what I'm saying? It's very realistic along those lines, where things are happening fast, but things are happening fast because of this the level of the problems and the scale of the issues that we're dealing with. It's very reasonable to understand in Marvel Universe why magic would be around, right? You've gotten zapped. You've watched people disappear for 5 years. There's a whole lot of shit I can be understanding of. I've seen the videos of this dude make a giant shield in the middle of Manhattan out of magic. This shit happens. This is our world. So I didn't
when America Ferrera showed up, he like cut cars down in the middle of the street.
Thank you. He fought a big ass squid in the middle of fucking Soho or some shit. So, I mean, this is the universe that they live in. So, I completely understand why the things were acceptable. Again, it's the direction that they took things in. That's debatable, right? It's debatable because it's over. It makes sense why they went that direction. I can understand why they went that direction, even if I wish they went another direction. You still understand why they went that direction. The only issue people can really have with this show is you just don't, like, I can literally say you just don't understand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't understand. Because the other aspects of the show kind of make sense. It's not, I don't think it's like, it's the, the wonderful. It's not warm and fuzzy. It's not, I defeat people and then we're cool tomorrow and everything's gonna be okay and everything's gonna work out. The show ends and you don't know how it's going to work out. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm gonna say the character to me is not the most, she's not the most redeeming character. You know what I'm saying? In a show, she's not. I'm not liking her motivations totally, but I understand her motivations. Right?
Yeah,
I don't like why she do it, but I do understand why she's doing it. It makes sense that there are people like that do that happens. So This is one of those shows that I'm getting. I'm not getting, a goody two shoes, a person who always says and does the right thing. I'm getting a flawed person. I'm getting a flawed person.
Squares.
Right.
I will say one of the things that Marvel is kind of known for is that their characters are supposedly more realistic. We're not getting the fantasy characters that you get from DC where everyone's basically a god or, you know what I'm saying? Like these perfect these perfect concepts of people. These are real people dealing with real shit. And, I think that was a really good summary there. Teresa, everybody had an opportunity to kind of just give a general synopsis. Don't recall? Not a problem. So
moving on because I was so tired by the last episode. I saw the end, but I'm fuzzy about what led up to it. So I'm gonna have to watch it again. So
rewatch. Okay. Yeah. Well, here's a question that my wife posed, and she asked me, and so I'll present it to the group here. Of course, Jeff, you'll be happy to know she gave me hell about Mephisto being on screen. And so, he was finally here. But she asked me, she said, was this a good time for Mephisto to show up? Like, was this series a good series for Mephisto? And one half of me was immediately like, well, yes, of course. Like, yes, definitely. Then I actually thought about it and I was like, that's a good question. I'm still going to say yes. And I think, RG, to your point, we see a character who has this obsession with her suit for whatever reason. She gave her reason. And I feel like she's smart enough where that's not really a great reason, but it's her reason. And because she has this obsession, she falls into that category where she is easy to manipulate. I think the fact that she was first able to be manipulated by Parker just by the offer of money to do morally questionable things so that she could make a better suit. Like whatever it takes to make a better suit, she was willing to do. I think that is exactly the type of situation that you're going to find these Faustian deals. That's when Mephisto is going to show up and offer you what you're looking for. For something you won't even miss. And so, I would say I think that this is the perfect opportunity to introduce Mephisto finally in the flesh, so to speak. So I present to you all, what do you think? Was this a good opportunity to use Mephisto finally?
I wish he would have popped up in WandaVision. I wish that would have been something, or even in what should have been Wanda's movie, Mephisto, and not in Multiverse of Madness. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I will bargain with you. I will give you your kids if you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because then that would have been a better explanation for her villain turn.
Right.
Going after Kaj Matal if he was like, I need this book. You go get this book, and I'll give you your kids back and have Billy and Tommy right. Ooh. Yeah. I've wanted Mephisto just because they brought him up and they wasn't showing him, damn it. But that's a much better reason right there. I like that even better.
What are you doing?
Jeff, you shaking your head no, so I know you don't give a damn about Mephisto. So
no,
do you think this was a good use of Mephisto in this series?
I do. I think this was the best way to introduce him because I think right now Marvel is doing a test run on big bads. They're giving us a lot,
Hmm.
and we don't know. You know, we got Galactus coming up. He could be done
You
after
think
this.
all of this
He could be.
is in place of Kang?
I think they're figuring it out.
Some early reports say Kang might be
They're
back.
saying he might be back, but
It's a rumor. It's a rumor, but it's a rumor I've read a couple of times. Either the one rumor has been spread multiple times, or the rumors come from a couple of different sources. Since nobody's named who they heard the rumor from, because there's this one guy who, like, when he drops a rumor, it's pretty much going to happen. And then other things, but like, yeah, they're saying Kang. We might actually have some Kang in the future of the MCU.
Yeah, but now is that too much?
That's what I'm wondering.
Well, I think that's kind of the thing of like them doing this multiverse saga now. I think it's really going to be like we're going to see who make it. The characters that test well with audiences will be the ones that come out on the other side of this. And so I think I didn't really love his portrayal of Kang, but he going to get a chance and we going to see him up against Mephisto. Like he off to a strong start. We'll see what happens with Galactus. We'll see what happens. But obviously we see people going from universe to universe now. We've seen that happen in a few different movies at this point. So it's only a matter of time where somebody figures out how to do it on purpose. And then all hell gonna break loose. So I think now is a good time to introduce him before the chaos. Like you don't want to have all that going on already and then be like, by the way, Mephisto, it's like it's too late, brother. We're locked in on these other guys. But when they went to the little portal that Zelma put them to, they were like, "Yeah, we're in another dimension." Like they're just talking about it like we know there's other dimensions. And I think when Marvel starts doing that, that's when we are in the phase of like, all right, we've done movies and movies of world building and exposition about how multi-dimensional universes work.
Right.
Now we're storytelling, and that's just a reality of where those characters live. We're not going into it. We're not banging our head against the window. It is what it is. If you don't know what they talking about,
you just don't.
And if you can't accept it,
I don't know.
Right. There's a whole collection of movies you can watch to catch up.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I like the dropping of them. I like bringing them in now. You know what It's not a full fucking Mephisto. You know what I'm saying? It's just here's Mephisto, right? I think we have to take away the fact that we know we've read the comics. I got you. I know who Mephisto is. You know what I'm saying? We know what he's capable of doing. This is the MCU. So this is an introduction to this character. We know he's obviously, Dormammu level, right? Or they're trying to
apparently Dormammu can't hold a candle.
There you go, right? Like, he's saying shit like that.
Apparently Dormammu ain't.
Really? You talking
that's
that
good.
All right.
The way he laughed when he said Dormammu, like he could head back and laugh, like
trash.
Now us comic book nerds might feel differently about that. Like, I don't think you can be nigga. No, you're not beating Dormammu, dude. Like, but that's cute. I got you. But this is the MCU. That's his character. That's who he is. And I like the fact, like y'all said, put him in now. Let's get it dropping. Let's get his face on the screen. Let's see what we all think. You know what I'm saying? Set him up. Everything doesn't have to be. I don't need Endgame. I don't need Infinity War. I don't need the ensemble movie tomorrow. I don't need it immediately. Like, certain things you can let simmer, and certain things can be just for fucking TV.
Now
I'm fine with this just being a show. Like, I have zero problem with if Mephisto is the bad guy for the fucking show. Awesome. There's a lot of opportunity with this show. There's a lot of, her show ends on a fucking bad note. Like, it's, what the fuck, Riri? Like, goddamn. I can't co-sign any of her fucking decisions. Right? I'm
think that is.
I'm watching this show and I'm like, oh, girl, you stop doing stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? That is not a good decision. Stop doing that. Stop making these deals. But as I'm watching the show, I understand why she's making those decisions. Or I understand that, I understand what, why it's being written that way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, I got you. But it's
just imagine being Natalie. Like,
well, that's
imagine
the thing,
that.
right? Like,
you know what I mean? I can't even imagine
Natalie?
that.
Like new Natalie,
all of a sudden you just alive and
right. There's so much room.
But the crazy thing is,
this, right? Like, but it's good. But it's good.
Yeah.
It's intriguing, right? I want to see where you're going to go with this, right? Give me 1 year. Give me 1 year, and take some time, and then boom, next year, let's fucking figure this shit out. Like, don't make us wait. This girl's got to
figure out what she's going to be in.
Like, shit, let Ironheart too. Just give me let her.
But they haven't. It's like Moon Knight.
But that's where they're fucking up.
These characters, and then we never see them again.
Right, that's
I think when we get Eyes of Wakanda and Eyes of Wakanda does well, he will have Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Ironheart, and Eyes of Wakanda, and they're gonna be like, Coogler, here you go, whatever you need, make it happen. And I think we could. I absolutely think that we could get a season 2, because if nothing else, regardless of what's being said, it's being watched. You know what I'm saying? Like,
here's the thing too. When you start thinking about some of these characters that are going to be on the hero side, they need people to fight. Like Kate Bishop and Ammani Villani, however you say her name, Ammani Villani. Yeah. And what was the girl in the thing we just seen? Like Florence and all them. They're gonna need somebody to fight while, like, well, not Florence, she gonna probably be with the big boys, but while Reed and all them trying to figure out what to do with, Galactus or Dormammu or whoever the hell. Exactly.
The henchman will be,
but she'll be the redeemed. The redeemed henchman, almost like a morph on the animated series type situation where it's like they get messed up by the deal, but the power of friendship brings her back. You know what I mean? So I do think I agree. I do hope that like they do find a way to bring us back to this self-contained Ironheart world and not just allow her to be absorbed into the larger Disney atmosphere. And I think that's the thing that I'm most curious about with them using the TV shows. Like, how are they going to be using? Are you going to do your old model again where it's independent, so you ain't got to watch the movies and the TV shows? Or are y'all just going to keep interjecting these little mini series where we meet a new character, but we know if we see them there, the next time we see them might just be in the background of some other shit and don't expect them to like pop up and have like a long episodic thing? Because I think if they just are honest with us and say this is just going to be a little quick one-hitter story, I think people would go into it differently. But if we go into it thinking like this could become 4 or 5, like it's not going to be CW's The Flash. Like,
right. We're not getting 6 seasons of Ironheart.
Yeah. But I think I'm curious as to how they plan on using this storytelling device, because it's worked to a degree in terms of like telling short, concise stories with like Echo and with Ironheart. But like I feel like a lot of people, we all agreed that like Daredevil was like a little too short and we needed like a little bit more there. So it can't just be this is a catch-all strategy on how we're going to deal with all the Disney Plus shows. It has to be, I think, a character by character, story by story basis. But I do think I think we're going to have to accept that when we're meeting new characters in the 6-episode arc, we don't know where this motherfucker is going to show up. This is their tryout for the MCU. and how
Right.
well the show does determines where you're gonna see this motherfucker again.
But see, that's a bad practice, right? Because the thing is that eventually you're going to have too many misses to where it gets to the point that I'm not going to give you my attention, right? I'm not going to go through the echoes, right? I'm not going to go through. I'm gonna stop at Echo. So that was a pretty bad show.
I just mean like, but
But,
comics have
you know,
they do that.
I don't want to
Comic
keep.
books introduce characters, and then you'll have like a side little quick
Yeah,
run
I don't
of
buy those
just that
comics.
character. You know what I mean?
I read them online. Those are the ones I read online. I don't give my money to. Like it's like,
That's true.
you
Okay,
know, that's
well,
the
that
thing,
makes
right?
sense.
It's like,
Well, when you have like a 6-issue miniseries, the 6-issue miniseries is really no different than the 6-episode miniseries. If it does well, then maybe you bring that character back in New Avengers 2 or something like that, and then that person becomes a regular in that series. If they become a
Yeah.
standout, boom, they can get their own title, a
but
standalone.
what's wrong with Agents of Shield? I liked Agents of Shield. I liked
You want to know what was wrong?
I liked all the
You want-
seasons of
you know
Agents.
what
You
was-
liked it?
You know what was
I think
wrong with Agents
initially-
of Shield? As somebody who liked the show and watched it religiously, the problem with Agents of Shield was when you put the Marvel name on stuff, people are expecting Captain America, Thor, Black Widow, and so here's this Marvel TV show. Like it's like turning on an NBA game to watch like the Water Boys or the Practice Squad. Like we're not here to see them. We want the big dogs.
Wow.
And y'all keep telling us that this is the Marvel show. And we watch Marvel movies. I see Captain America and Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., big stars, box office. And I expect to see what I'm watching in this story intertwined in that in some way. Not saying they got to be on every single episode, but a cameo here and there, other than Nick Fury. And so
Prove that it's connected, other than you telling me.
Once people realized it wasn't connected, and it wasn't just a 2-hour movie they could go watch with some popcorn on a date, it was like a show that they had to commit to watching.
Right.
A lot of people put it down because they really are there for the movies, and that's fine.
But what about us, man? What about us? What about the rest of us that actually like watching a fucking?
They're making shows like Ironheart, and they because here's the problem too. Not that they run out of characters, but the characters that have the longest like history, like where people actually know who they are, they've already like done a bunch of stuff with them already. So now they're trying to bring along this new generation, but it's like you don't have people who grew up with Miss Marvel and Kate Bishop and West Coast Avengers and all that stuff. Those are not like, they're like the future consumer. And one day we will live in a world where like people will just know who those guys are because they were the main comic guys when they were growing up. But right now, it's still people like us. If we know Cap, we waiting on X-Men. And that's a lot of what it is. We waiting on the X-Men. We waiting to see what they're gonna do with that.
But I mean, are you saying that you feel like they don't give us these long shows, you know, the multi-season 10, 12 episode shows? I mean, outside of the business reason, right? Because I understand the business reason why they're not doing it. But I just mean from an artistic point of view, do you feel like, yes, that makes more sense to have a contained Ironheart universe where she does not have to be tackling these world-ending situations. She can tackle,
street level,
shit. Midwest, right? Exactly, right? She's building a suit. We obviously know the suit is not as powerful as Tony's suit, right? But it doesn't need to be. Does it have to be?
So I feel like the issue with that is we kind of have a reverse situation with this character where we took a character from the movie and then gave her own show to flesh that character out. Because we have a character that's already established in the MCU, there was even a scene where Nat was like, call Shuri. And it was like, what? Just pick up the phone, call Shuri. And the funny thing is like,
Yeah.
she could have did that.
Right.
Like that was a real thing she could have did. In her mind, it wasn't going to go well because Shuri was going to be like, "What the hell? I don't have time for this." But it was an option, and so now you're talking about a character who has already had a Wakandan internship, and ultimately may find herself. We have not found the hero inside of this character yet. When Joe talked about, if you take yourself apart, you might find a hero inside after all. We have not found the hero inside this character yet. So as far as her tackling any street level threats or anything like that, if it doesn't affect her directly, she doesn't seem too concerned about it. She's not out there to take care of the, save the universe kind of thing.
Daredevil.
Maybe when something happens and she recognizes that she's someone who could step up and be a part.
I know what that magic. I know what dark magic can do to people. I survived it myself.
Or better yet, when you get a situation where, like, when you start kind of putting some,
you don't want any
together,
parts of this dark magic, man.
You have the technology and you have the magic intertwining. We know that we're getting Secret Wars and Avengers Doomsday. You're talking about the crossover with Dr. Doom of magic and technology, of straight up techno wizard. We're going to have incursions. We're going to have people. We're already going to have like this whole multiverse thing. And if these multiverse battles are going to be taking place, that could be the stuff that Kang was talking about. So it absolutely makes sense that they bring Kang back, because it's like, this is what I was telling y'all was going to happen. This is it right here. This is taking place. He gets taken out at some point because he's no longer in the tower directing everything. Go back and check out Loki. He's not there anymore.
But that makes me think about Loki, because they just left him sitting. Like,
and
are we ever going to see him again? Is he just gone forever?
Absolutely, because yes, I think we are going to see him again. And this is like going way far ahead. But I'll try to bring it back to how it relates to Riri and her world. But when we get into a situation where planets are crashing into one another and some of the smart minds start coming together, I see Shuri having a conversation with Reed Richards, having a conversation with some of these other intelligent minds, and remembering like, hey, here's somebody that we need to talk to who could probably help, or I need somebody to back me up. I got a guy. She makes the call and she's like, hey, I need you here. And she's immediately flying to wherever. If Shuri calls and says, I need help, I'm pretty sure Riri gonna hop, jump, and get there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
she may not Dora Melange out there and be like, Shuri has requested
you coming with me, like, you know what I'm saying?
But if she's already possessed and everything, she wouldn't necessarily be like an asset.
But see, that's
not this season 3.
Now we get into. But see, then we get into how she's an adversary, and you take someone like Dr. Doom, who already has his connection to magic. If he has a conversation with Mephisto, and Mephisto's like, well, I have someone perfect for you, and boom, hands him Shuri. Now you have, like you said, that could be a perfect henchman who is redeemable, and you know what I'm saying, but could still be like a whole threat because she took out the whole game. And you know what I'm saying? And so, like, imagine what she could have did with this. It would have been no problem. Side note to the fight with the gang. I like Clown. I really like Clown as a character.
Same.
Because Clown was just like, I don't know how I feel about this. Let me ask about this. Let me call this out. And I'm going to do what I got to do because this is what the boss man said he wanted to have happen. But I'm listening. I'm always paying attention. And I feel like Clown is a real person for being like that, because not just because the blood siblings were kind of like, they were just muscle, and I think they depicted themselves as much like they was whooping ass every time they was on screen. So I think they was great as Muscle, but between Slug and Clown, I really feel like they were versions of real people in that situation. Like they really conducted themselves the way people in those positions would need to conduct themselves.
They didn't just blindly accept.
Exactly.
Wow, like this shit look a little suspect. I'm gonna ask. Like I'm
right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say something. So that made sense.
And even when she said, she was like, we had our shit, but we was working through it. He was still part of the team, and it's that, that conditional loyalty that exists. And it's like, you're good until you're not. Once you show me reason to question you, I'm gonna keep questioning until we get this resolved. Don't clap at me. Sorry, I just remember Riri.
I was thinking too. One thing that I noticed that they did a lot was they had Riri outside of the suit with Nat controlling the suit when they were doing like stealth stuff or building things, and it really made me think about how I never really saw Tony Stark doing that. It's like his suit was the only way you was gonna get that suit is if you knew the code and you had the nanotech or the briefcase or whatever. But you never really saw him, like his relationship even with Jarvis was still very like master robot versus like obviously the way that the relationship between Nat and Riri developed. The amount of trust that you have to be like, I'm outside the suit doing this, you're inside the suit controlling it while I'm not there. Right. I just felt like that was like a fascinating way of showing their relationship, like even just like giving Nat like some sense of autonomy by like not just being in the suit the whole damn time.
Like, where were you at, girl? I needed to take a breath.
Yeah.
You just go fly off and watch YouTube videos. Like, what did you do? I could have died. Yeah. I needed some me time.
And I'll say the suit that they built out of the car at the end was fire.
Yeah.
It was very, and I wouldn't say the effects to me. I ain't got the best TV on the planet, but they look good. The CGI, the robot. That thing was sliding across the floor and everything.
Oh yeah,
it looked really good.
It did a good job.
It looked really good,
and it was so meaningful. I appreciated like the flashback with the dad and like, okay, we're going to take the car and do
RG
with the car because of that.
I know where Sam is going.
Because I said I want that. Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. I said that. Yeah, I said it. I want a flashback. Show me this parts.
Okay, and the I was just gonna ask: was that did it meet the standard? Like, was that sufficient? Was that good for the show?
It was appropriate.
I know it was appropriate. Did you like it?
It was something that brought her back. Let me put it to you this way: it was something that brought her back. I understood why they did it.
No, I get why it was there.
I wanted it. Episode 1. I didn't change my mind because they did it fucking episode 5. I don't care. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I wanted it episode 1. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they did it because it made sense in the context of the situation. I understand bringing her back, getting her, you know what I'm saying? Her dealing with that trauma of losing him and helping us understand a little bit more as viewers. This is why. This is another reason why we should care that she cares, right? So
dance with her father,
exactly.
Whole little tear moment. I
appreciate it. Show the black man.
I was
hitting the door over here with a wrench. I head girl. I felt
there was one segment that I won't say. I don't think disappointed is the right phrase. As you all were just saying, like the car, she got the car back and she had the car to make the suit. And I'm just like, I don't know how I felt about her tearing the car up to make the suit. There
Okay.
was a part of me that was like, and I'm with you on this part, Archie. I'm gonna use your words. It made sense for the scene. I get why they did it. But I have to say, I was looking at that, and let me tell you, I was so mad when she was fighting Parker and the suit blew up. I like literally paused. I looked at I was like, she spent all that time making that damn suit, made that fire suit,
Yeah.
and just gonna blow it up like that? Just gonna blow it up? What was
That's
the
what
point
I
of
was,
making this?
and that's
I
what I
was
was thinking
like,
too. Because I was like, every battle she get in, her suit is donezo. So yeah, she need Tony Stark money if she want to do this.
For real.
but I also think that there's a part of it that is clearly like there is some form of therapy in the tinkering and building of suits for her, just the same way it existed for Tony. Because, like I said, by the time we got to Iron Man 3, my man was building suits just because. Like, that was how he was dealing with his trauma. He would just go build a new suit. Oh, there could be a threat underwater. Let me build a scuba suit. Oh, there could be a threat in the desert. Let me build a desert suit. Like, he was building specialized, customized suits just for the sake of doing it, because that was how he worked through some of his stuff. And I was actually I liked seeing the character development moment where Riri was in Joe's bunker and she's trying all these different things to try to damage the cloth. Nothing's working and whatnot. And finally, she's just like sprawled out on the floor, and she has that aha moment where she's like,
I can't do this.
I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. And seeing her like almost have a panic attack from not being able to solve a problem.
Mm-hmm.
That to me was, I could identify with that piece of her psyche and why she has that obsession she has.
It was a real moment.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, yeah.
because she's like, I
I can
have to
relate.
figure this out. I have to figure this out. Everything around me is turning to shit. And like, these people that I love, I can't protect them. I have to figure this problem out or people are going to get hurt. And that being like a real breaking point for her. And of course, everybody kept asking, like, are you okay? I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. And then, even Xavier was like, hey, look, you ain't got to say I'm fine, because clearly you not. You know what I'm saying? And her mom, like Jeff called, we going to have a moment with mama. Like, we not going, because let me tell you something. What you not going to do is be in a mama house and think you just going to do whatever and have all these problems and not fess up.
I did think the mama was a little lenient at times, but then I was like, well,
Way
she
too
hangs out
lenient.
with sage burners, and so she's kind of new age and progressive. So
Plus, it's not like Riri is a kid.
Right.
true.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
But
well, as much as I may want to put my 2 cents in, I also have to respect the fact that you are an adult.
Right.
I had this weird thing. I was trying to figure out the whole series. Like, how old is Riri?
I think she's like 19, 20, maybe.
Yeah, almost 20.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's young.
Okay.
She's young, but she is technically an adult.
Right.
I thought
I mean, she's
Well, no, she's an
23.
adult.
well, it would be, see, like, I was thinking, like,
Say
she
what?
got to MIT when she was like 15. They made that part clear. And then it's the MCU timeline that threw it off. That's the only reason I'm asking. I'm not trying to be funny or whatnot, but it was like
Well, and
during
also,
the events.
like, how long was she in Wakanda? We don't know.
19
I mean-
in Wakanda Forever, 20 in the Ironheart series.
Okay.
Because they said something about her getting to MIT at 15, and then when they were kicking her out, the dean was saying that she had been there matriculating for 4 years, but hadn't
Okay.
taken any class.
Right.
Okay. And that's what I was trying to make sure that I had a grasp on that, because like I said, I remember them specifically saying that she was 15 when she got there. And I'm just trying to like do the math. And I'm like, okay, so when did this and when did that? And okay, so yeah, being right at 19, I appreciated that they did not push the story with Zay, but at the same time, I wanted them to push the story with Zay because I could. It was right there.
It was so cute, and I think
Right,
and again, that's one of those things where you're like, I really think this should happen, but also now, how does it happen? You know?
right. This ain't the. I mean, and I could absolutely agree. This ain't the moment, but I do appreciate that they at least acknowledged because Nat was like, "Did you all kiss?" She was like, "Is this really the time?" You know. So it's not like it was not on her mind. She just was focused on other things. So I was like, okay, I can appreciate that. I was happy with what I saw because they're like their on screen chemistry was really good. So I just thought that for those two characters portraying, or those two actors portraying those two characters, it looked really good. And I thought like that would have
So much
worked.
stuff that
Too much too
was
soon.
said last week that didn't
Right.
have any bearing on. Well, she's LGBTQ.
Yeah.
No, she's not. And if she is, nothing was said, even nodding in that direction. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
Right, this
You
show has
Anything,
know,
nothing
if
to do with her
anything, I would have said
sexuality.
she was asexual because she wasn't even like swooning.
Right,
Yeah,
She was like,
she wasn't interested,
"Here, put
right?
this watch on." Like what?
right.
Put the watch on.
Right.
I just
They were-
mean, things that were said that, and well, there's a drag queen. I'm still waiting for Shangela to kick a leg up and start doing drag. So I must say, I'm disappointed that I did not get the drag portion of
right.
Ironheart that
I
everybody
was
kept.
waiting. I was waiting to have a whole story read to me by Slug, and Slug didn't read me no stories. Nothing
Stupid.
happened.
No drag queen
You know.
story time.
I'm
So
just
I
saying,
don't
I
know where
feel
that
Tell your
was.
cheated
parents
after
to
the
leave the
outrage.
room.
Yeah, that was a. Now I will say I was, and this was a genuine question. And matter of fact, before I even ask that, I will just go and pull up the cast because the blood siblings. I am still unsure with Jerry. And Jerry was kicking a lot of ass. And so every time Jerry was on screen, I was like, somebody finna get a beat down. That was all I could tell. But there was a point, at one point, Jerry was just referred to as he. And then when I would look at Jerry, I was like, is Jerry he? Well, if Jerry identifies as he finna kick somebody ass. And that's where it went with me. And so I could not
I didn't
understand.
even think about it.
Yeah,
I guess.
and that's what I'm
It's
saying.
so
Like
weird to me
it was
and nothing against you, Sam. I don't have an opinion about that either way, but I just I don't know. That's just kind of segueing up. If somebody tells me that's what they want, then I'd just be like, that's who you are then, because I don't
and that's
care. Like, why am I spend 2 hours arguing with you about who you are? Like, I don't know.
right.
You know
Oh
what I
no, we
mean? I
definitely
don't
not.
know
Yeah,
you.
Right.
yeah, we definitely not doing that. But I just thought about it from the standpoint of like, last week when the conversation came up, it was like, well, she's bi. Okay, then that means she could date dude. What's the problem? If Riri is bi, Riri could date whoever the hell she wants to.
There's
It
no
would be that
romantic.
simple.
There's no love
Why would it
interest
be a
in
No.
the
problem for
show at
Riri?
all.
It's not a problem for Deadpool. It's not a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like Peter Quill was sleeping with any and everything. He said it himself. Like
Anybody
again,
that
I
dates
just am like,
Mystique,
why do these have to be the issues when we're dealing with a universe with literally a talking raccoon? Like
and it's
Yeah.
there's a
it is
talking
very
raccoon, but God forbid somebody be a they them.
It's
right.
That's
it's
too
because they
much.
know
A
that media.
tree has a whole ass personality, but
Right.
I think it's
Tree got an
because
attitude. I am Groot.
Those are
I
very-
am Groot. I am Groot.
okay with you group, but they them.
well, I
That's
think
the
it's because like so many people understand that like movies and art have messages in them, but they don't know how to decipher them. So they're doing the best they can to try to like, and then so when it's something they don't understand or it makes them feel weird and they don't have anybody who they can talk to, now it's this program and they're setting an agenda. And it's like, yes, they are setting an agenda, but I don't know if it's the agenda that you think it is. It's like
right.
the prevalence
It's the same
of different
agenda that
groups
they're
of
mad at
people.
Sesame Street. for pushing, and they want
Right.
Sesame Street off the air because
Yeah.
Sesame Street says, you know what, you love your fucking neighbor,
Yeah.
and if you're a grouch and you're a bird and you're an elephant, then we all love each other and get along, and it doesn't matter. And
Right.
that is a step too far. So when they said sometimes people have two mommies or two daddies, the all hell broke loose. The ceiling caved in and everybody freaked out. But I'm like, but the truth of the matter is at your kid's daycare or at your kid's school, Billy has two mommies, and it's okay to tell your kid that's okay. You don't got to tease Billy or be a dick to Billy or his mommies. That's
Yeah.
just what all families are different. You see what I'm saying? You don't
Yeah.
got to go into detail and
Yeah.
go, and then they scissor. No, you just
Whoa.
say all families are different. Betty's grandma is who's raising her. So that's Betty's family is her all
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Right. Yep. Yep.
that's what Marvel is basically like the for me and the comics and all of that. It's
Yeah,
basically like, well, you can be a blue-skinned demon and still find your tribe. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
absolutely. And that's definitely that should be one of the biggest takeaways, especially in the MCU, in Marvel, in comics, in geekdom in general. There is somebody out there that's into the same stuff. There are people that are there for you. And if you don't know where they are or how to find them, I mean, it just takes a little bit of looking. Start by clicking that QR code right over there by Jeff. And that'll take you to Grown A Geeks. There's a whole collection of us here. Um, but no, honestly, I will say like that is one of the things. And when I was talking with, like I said, when I was looking at, and I guess to clarify my point, so with the blood siblings, it's Roz and it's Roz and it's Jerry. The actor for Jerry is he they. And I was looking, and there was just like a couple of different scenes where I was trying to figure out because I was like, okay, they're calling them the blood siblings, and because these are not direct comic characters, I could only find characters that were similar in nature. Like I said, we were basically supposed to think of like the Mahler twins or something like that. And so I was just trying to, identify the characters to something from comics. And Jerry was just kicking ass. Every time Jerry was on the screen, somebody was getting their ass beat. And that was the part that was what came to mind. Because in one scene, it was like the only time I heard it even like addressed, because like the Blood Siblings didn't have a lot of lines. But when they were having the moment where they were like, everybody should go around the room and say something about John, that was one of the few times that we got to hear him talk like, oh, I'm going to miss his throwing stars. And, like, oh, he was always kept it honest with you. Like getting that little bit of moment with those characters to kind of see who they were and, get a little bit more about them. Later on, we see that Parker's made plans to take Riri out. He's gotten information somehow, and he makes this separate plan. Then, of course, when we hear them have the conversation about Eric Andre's character,
Rampage.
Stewart. When we hear them talk about Stewart, like when he says, like, somebody killed Stewart, like you killed Stewart, we saw them kind of like, ooh. So we know that they're the ones that ended up doing that hit, like all the little nuances of these characters. And I just want to say that, like, everybody who was in this, like all of the characters, the Blood Siblings, Clown, Slug, this was a great cast of characters. Like everybody played the hell out of their role. And I honestly thought when Slug got out of the truck, I thought they was finna throw hands with Riri. And he looked up and was like, nope, not today. And it was like, I'm done. I'm out. And again, that just feels very real to me. And I think the authenticity that they brought, that everybody brought to their role as part of this game, right down to, I mean, even Anthony Ramos, you could
Really like
see
him.
the frustration he had.
Yeah.
And I was like, and of course, like I was thinking about myself, RG, you was gonna hate this part, but I was like, dude got kicked out at 12. Okay, like it ain't right, but I get it. Like now you not like you went from being a great villain to being an understandable villain now. And now I get why you're a bad guy and it's not totally your fault. So at the
Right, but what do we say about that?
right. And that's what I'm saying. Like I knew I was just like,
Just
did
give
everybody
me.
did
If they
everybody
do
catch the
a
We
post
got
credit?
redemption
Mephisto,
arc
but
on
see,
Mephisto, I'm gonna
we
be
have
real
Mephisto.
upset.
That's the only thing that's keeping me off of their ass on that Anthony Ramos thing. Is that we
Literally,
have
if
Mephisto.
they give him a redemption arc and he
No,
becomes,
no, 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 no,
well,
no, no,
you
no.
know, when he was 6, his dog got hit
Mephisto
by the ice cream
Mephisto
truck.
gets
Right.
nah, I will say, like, I don't think Mephisto's gonna get a redemption arc. Like he won't get one. And truthfully,
No,
even
no, not
even
Mephisto. We're talking about Ramos. Ramos doesn't deserve a redemption arc.
I don't think he got. I don't think. I don't know. I kind of saw when his dad was like, "You haven't screwed anybody over to get where you are right now," and I feel like that was the whole thing of like you don't have the moral high ground because in order to achieve your goal, you did the exact same thing that I did, and so you should understand that like you didn't let anything get in your way between here and now. All the crimes and
Right.
killing people and hits and throwing,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like all that stuff you did to get to where you are right now, you know, it wasn't all above board and it wasn't all on top of the table. So I didn't really, even though, yeah, okay, sad story, but like kids get left all the time and don't resort to
you
like
had choices, bro.
crime.
You had choices. You
And
didn't
you
have to go that
chose,
route.
right.
Facts.
Oh yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I was like, I thought in that moment that was gonna be one of those things that like RG was gonna hate because here it is, we've had this menacing kind of villain up to this point. Like we've watched him just straight up murk somebody, and he's been a bad guy. He had a little moment of weakness when, understandably, John died. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, he was looking terrifying in that next episode. Like the way he was just like, you know what I'm saying? He was just so calm and casual. And it's like you can see how nervous she looked. And Dominique Thorne, like, absolutely she wears like 3 emotions, but she wears them so well. She wears that confidence, she wears that panic, and she wears that stress. Them the only 3 ways you gonna see Riri in this entire show. She's either being confident, she's being panicked, or she is completely stressed. And stress has like 2 different visuals. She's either working or something's not working. But it's not working because she's working. Otherwise, my girl is looking panicked all the time and looks truly terrified every time that comes up. Or she's like, you know, that arrogant, confident, because I know I did like the suit. Yeah, I built that. I did that. That was me. And I love it. And that is absolutely how my little sister is. And it's like I'm watching her, and this is perfect depiction. So I think the entire cast just did a fantastic job. And you know, bringing Art's dad, or not Art's dad, but bringing Hood's dad, Parker Robbins' dad, in as the twist there. I was like, okay, I didn't see that coming, but my wife called it immediately. But Joe, what is Joe's future? Where do we go from here?
Mercenary.
Okay,
Or
that
he
would.
joins the Thunderbolts.
Ooh, there you go. The Bionic Man. He would have to have a cooler name than that.
The New Avengers. I don't know. I feel like he's kind of gonna go into hiding a little bit and be a little secret supplier and things like that, and she'll whip him out when she needs a heavy hitter every now and then. But I don't necessarily know if we need. I don't need him in a full-on action role. You know, I like him as an actor. Like I think he's a really good actor. But yeah,
I
I
did
don't want to
not
see
know
that character.
when this series started and he first showed up. I did not know. I did not recall that was Han Solo
What? Really? See, yeah, wow.
from
That?
the movie Solo.
Yeah,
That guy,
Oh, that's him.
yeah.
that's Solo. See, exactly.
He's a great actor.
I don't be watching the kind of stuff he be in.
Fuck you, dude. Like Beautiful
I will
Creatures is
say-
awesome.
I will say the only other thing, like I looked through the filmography, and the only other thing that I recognized was Solo.
Okay.
And once I saw
What's his name? Taron Egerton or some shit?
The only thing I
Alden-
remember about Solo is Donald Glover's capes.
they were so fabulous.
And see, same universe as the Hood, right? It's the cape, just like the Hood. They're in the same. No, I'm just
There you go.
fan theory.
Apparently he was in Oppenheimer as well.
I never saw that
And he was
because it just seemed like something I'd be like 3 hours of just sitting there. Like,
no the
I
like I
know
said
him
the
from
only
Beautiful
thing.
Creatures. That's what I know him from. Beautiful Creatures. I
I
thought
would rather watch
he
a
was.
documentary about Oppenheimer than watch that movie.
I don't blame you on that.
I don't know why. I don't do well with those kind of historical movies, and I'm just like, it's so dry. 4 hours.
I mean that's a lot
It's
right there.
He needs to be coming to the office.
Important
So-
cinema.
So we've got
Very
were there any
capital I.
specific topics that anybody wanted to cover with Ironheart? I mean, we've had an overall feeling of positive vibes for the show. Ending was a little question. Did everybody catch the post credit?
Oh
Yes.
snap! Yeah, nah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm pretty
Did you-
sure I saw it, but I don't remember what it was.
For those that did see it, did you see anything coming from that? Like,
You got a spoiler thing going. Go ahead. What was it?
well, okay, if you all are comfortable with it, I'd be happy to talk about it. RG, I know you good with it. Teresa, you good with it? Okay. So in the post-credit scene, we actually see Parker Robbins with all his face scarring from the corruption. He happens to go into Stanton's, and he's in Stanton's. He's talking with Zelma.
yeah,
Zelma.
Yeah.
He is talking with Zelma, and he says that he needs some
Yeah.
magic. And the way he says it, he clearly knows that magic is at this location. And everybody's told him, he's been asking around, everybody's told him this is where to go. And she shows a display of magic capability, and he expresses that it's something much more than that. And he said he had a phrase, and I want to say he said it's like he needed some supreme magic.
Yeah.
Now, earlier, Zelma had already made her connection to Karj Mata or whatever, like wherever Doctor Strange them be.
Yeah. That's
Out-
why I said,
out of
old girl was
Nepal.
like, I got one gonna speak, but y'all don't know me.
Right. And so she's like, that's like legit magic. And of course, it turns out her mother apparently was previously a student. Madeline was previously a student there and only left because of
got
Zelma.
pregnant.
Like she
Mhm.
got pregnant, she has Zelma. So of course it's like, ooh, who her daddy is. Her daddy a big, powerful wizard too. But she obviously learned enough to be able to pass on some of that information to her daughter. And so technically she has a hat, so that makes her a sorcerer or a wizard. No, that makes her a wizard because she has a hat. Because remember the big three aliens, was it
Right.
aliens, wizards, and androids? And then wizard without a hat. So in this case, she had a hat. So I was looking at that and saw those two characters interacting with each other, and I'm thinking like, this isn't going to turn into a buddy cop show. Like, even if they decided to do some kind of spinoff with Zelma and Parker, what could you even do? What could you do?
Well, okay. So I did see a thing, and they were supposed to have a show about Carmitage or whatever,
Mhm.
like
Like a Harry Potter.
about the school, right? But I don't know if that's still a thing.
Let's hope not.
6 episode miniseries.
Something about they were saying something
No.
about Wizard School, but like Doctor Strange School or Strange School, Strange Academy. I don't know, something like that.
I wouldn't
But
have a problem with that.
I was gonna say
I don't know if
I would
that's
check out
still
Strange
because
Academy.
everything is so weird. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if that's still a thing.
No,
Now
they need to finish their breakfast.
was that one of those things that was on the slate like 3-4 years ago, and it was on the big
Yeah.
long timeline? Okay, because I'm like now that you say that, I vaguely remember.
Hearing something about it. This is what I think. So this is my theory. I think that obviously we saw. I feel like we can infer Riri has the cape, and that's how she's now the real Nat is back. She's not just a hologram. Generally speaking, like I feel like a lot of the magic rules is like I can't bring people back to life. Like I feel like after WandaVision and after Agatha, not saying all magic, I'm just saying in a lot of the magic that we've seen, whatever you bringing back to life
It's not
is not
gonna
what
be
you
right.
wanted to bring back to life.
right.
I think
Pet Cemetery.
that I think that Mephisto
What comes back is not always. Yeah.
did not bring Nat back to life. I think that he put Riri in a different universe where Nat is alive. And so in that universe, what's his name doesn't get the cloak. So he doesn't have. Did he have this stuff on his face? I know he was like covered up.
When he was
When he
talking
came
with,
to see old girl, he still had the stuff on his face.
yeah,
Okay. But maybe I don't know. This is I see it too as like a that relationship
So,
kind of
yeah,
being
I'm not
like
crazy.
Buffy
Okay.
and Angel.
that is
I'm like, there was supposed to be a show.
Appreciate
I
it, Mark.
swear.
Yeah.
What up, Mark? I ain't seen you in a
Thank
minute,
you.
man. Nah, Mark the homie. Okay, yeah. See, now that would be okay. Now this is what I got. She took the cloak and she took it away from Parker,
Yeah.
but I don't think Riri would put the cloak on. I believe that when Mephisto was sitting there at the table and he was talking to her, he offered her what she wanted. He looked into her mind and saw glimpses and visions of what she wanted and saw that it was Natalie that she wanted. And it was kind of cut between. And now that you say the alternate dimension, that really stands out because it's like that is the only time her hair has not been braided down.
Mm.
That right there, like hearing you say that made me catch, because I was like, the entire series, her hair has been like laid. It has been so tight. And here we got her, she's just wearing a fro out. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's
I
cute.
thought that
All right.
too. Like, wow, that's different.
And in this location, but it's still the fact that Natalie just showed up that threw me off. And she thought it was her AI regenerating and doing what it does, only to see that she gets pushed. And now here's like a tangible person. And she's like, hey, I missed you. One, how is Natalie going to handle being gone for this time? I think
That's
you were
what I
saying,
said. Like,
yeah, I was about to say, that's what you were saying. Like, she just comes back, like, where?
it's been like what? Like, it's been like a year, 2 years.
It's
So
been
things
some
have
time.
moved on. Things have changed. They have gotten older. Her brother's older. Like, she comes back looking exactly the same thing.
Now, what we did see was when she finally wrapped her arms around Natalie and hugged Natalie, we saw the little creepy darkness come up her arm.
Mm-hmm.
I believe She's not messing with the hood. She made her own pact with Mephisto. She shook hands. Mephisto gave her what she wanted. In her mind, she just wanted the AI back because she uses the AI to power the suit and that whole bit. But by actually getting Natalie back, now you got this whole situation to deal with. For the most part, you can probably get a few people to go along with the fact that maybe she was blipped. She's part of the blip. You could probably play it off like that. But they got a whole mural on the wall,
Right.
of her and Gary.
When they go back and look after the conversation with Mephisto, when they show the mural, it's a completely different image. It's not Nat and what's his name?
Gary.
I don't know nobody's name.
You're not good. You are not good with names, but we always know who you talk about.
Right.
But yeah, the mural is different. It's like some sunshiny, generic, like trees and cars and type stuff. Because I noticed they kept showing the Gary and Nat mural over and over.
They did show that like a bunch of times.
Yeah.
In the series. You know what?
Wow. See, this is why you got to watch stuff twice.
I'm trying to tell you because, and what did I say? That's why I like talking to y'all because I get stuff I wouldn't have got. I did notice the hair, and I thought that was a very, I won't say strange look, but it was a very different look for her given every other time we've seen her.
That's a straight up comic book cover nod right there too.
Right. The first time when she's sitting there holding with the helmet, like, okay, so let me see if we can talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna see if I can pull that up real quick.
Believe me, I'm looking at it right now.
I'm like, shoot, I'm gonna look on YouTube.
Look, I went to pull it up. On my computer. My computer told me I had to log in. I'm like,
I don't see the mural. They're inside the garage during the hug.
But I feel like it kind of pans across because it shows like 2-3 times.
Like after they're talking, they do like a B-roll thing where they're showing like the trains and the city and the this and the that, and then they show the mural right before they show the inside of the garage. So it's just part of the B-roll. But I think
that's a good catch. That's a good catch. Yeah, see, we all like, oh, I gotta see that because how I missed that. I was looking for stuff too.
Shit, now let me look and make sure.
Everybody's looking. Can I just say?
But also, he made it seem like he had also made deals with other people.
He absolutely has.
Who do you think he would have made deals with?
Dr. Doom.
Doom for sure.
Oh yeah.
But Doom's not in the universe yet.
But Mephisto's from
Doom's
an alternate
in a
universe.
That's true.
So while I look up this
Mephisto is more powerful than Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Like Mephisto is essentially the Marvel equivalent. Oh, they go to post credit. Zelma's so cute.
She really is such a cutie pie. I just want to see her in all the things with her cute.
Right. We need like more little witches. Like I need her to have like a crossover with Moon Girl, the whole bit. Like
I would have her help what was the brother in Agatha?
Billy.
Have her help Billy find Tommy.
Oh, that would be cute. I just want to do it. I love it. I'm already invested. I want to see her.
Yep, I'm good with that.
I want to see her in all the things. I just love her little cute face.
There's a whole little Marvel Magic series happening right here, and I'm here for it. I can get down.
It's at 30.55.
Yeah, I think that's a Chicago thing. Like that's a popular Chicago mural.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Maybe I'm wrong.
Now hold on, because I promise you, you pointed out you were correct. They have shown that mural of Gary
a lot,
and
yes,
you're a glitch, but you my glitch.
They show a mural, but I didn't see that mural. I didn't see that location of where they had the
I just didn't pay attention because they just kept showing it. So after a while, it just kind of like the mural. Okay, my brain didn't even register it. So it would be perfect if it was different.
Nah, during the B-roll, they do show a mural, but the mural is a popular.
Oh, okay.
It's a
all
popular.
Right, we're at 3031. But if it's on the same wall by the garage,
right,
then
that
the
can't be
idea
just
that it's
not intentional,
mural,
right?
It's 3031. Yeah, that's the one they showed at 3031.
Okay, so that's culture, power. We got the shirt. We got the woman with. Okay, so there we are. Hold on.
Yeah, some artist named Max Sansing, Culture is Power mural. It's on the south side of Chicago.
Okay, we zipping by. But now you got me just really wanting to check out this.
Why would they show a different mural on that same wall?
I don't know if it's the same wall. I don't think it's the same wall. I think they're doing like a Chicago montage.
Yeah, I will say because they do like a bunch of pans of the city.
This would look like it's probably a big. If you're for Chicagoan, it's probably.
Okay, now here's something. Here's something I just caught that I didn't catch the first time. And since we running live, I'm gonna point this out. But when Riri is standing in front of the whiteboard, she's looking through notes. Right here, you can actually see an image walk through the doorway where she's standing. I missed that the first time around. Nat came through the door. Nat, like the way they showed it in the episode, it looked like Nat just appeared.
Yeah.
Like she just appeared in the circle.
Yeah.
She didn't just appear in the circle.
That's why Nat was looking so like Nat was looking like I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
To a degree. And Nat was also kind of looking like
girl, what did you got going on?
So maybe he put her in a universe where Riri was eliminated. So,
Yeah, and that's the best way to think of it. Mephisto is the devil in the MCU. So he is, you talk about the monkey's paw deal, like I'm gonna give you this comb, but all your hair gonna fall out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like absolutely how it's gonna work with him. And he would give Natalie back. But it's like, what price would she have to pay to get Natalie back? Like, there's a big price that has to be paid for something like that. But again, even as I pointed out, like, I don't know that resurrecting someone from the dead is off the table for Mephisto. Like, that is well within the capability of what he could do.
Correct.
Mark, look at 3120. My TV's going to start at 3113. I'll try to see if I can find the exact.
Now I got to watch a whole bunch of them in breakdowns.
I watch one. I watch the same one every time.
Okay, I didn't want to watch anything like that until after I talked to y'all first.
Right.
Because sometimes they spoil stuff and I seem like I'm smarter than I am and I'm not.
Exactly. No, let me tell you. I like having this conversation and then watching those to see how much we catch.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's just the ego thing for me, not gonna lie. I just want to know if we up on it the way, and if we like, because oftentimes I find that we may have a different perspective from the one that I watch. I like a particular, I like Screen Crush.
Do you watch Heavy Spoilers or do you watch
too?
I like Screen Crush. Ryan Airy.
I like Screen Crush. I like New Rock Stars. Heavy Spoilers.
I do Screen Crush. I like the Canadian Lad. Heavy Spoilers. It depends on who's doing the video for Heavy Spoilers.
I like Grown A Geeks.
That's the best one. That's the only one. That's the only one.
Yes, but we could give shout outs and maybe, they give us a shout out sometime.
Well, here's you know what? In a weird tie-in, Ryan Airy's name comes up in the list that's on the screen in episode
Oh, that's an
2, I believe it
interesting
is.
idea.
No. Oh, I'm
So,
sorry.
like, the reason why her hair was down is because they went back and Nat never died. But then Riri wouldn't have ever done with the
Ooh,
Wakanda thing.
ooh, Rick, I like that. Is you know what? That kind of falls in line with what Jeff was saying as far as placing her in an alternate universe. Let's see.
I mean,
Everything could have
technically, that
happened the
is.
way everything could have happened the way that it did, provided she she was already in MIT. She was already working on the suit. The only thing that would have happened different is Natalie would have been like over here. So it's still going to
And
be a
she wouldn't have
question of
had the
like,
car because her dad, unless they're like, yeah, no, he still got to die.
and well, I mean, you can
Sorry, we
only
can
bring
only
back one.
say
You know, it's Disney. You know, Disney don't like parents. You know, Disney
True.
don't care about their parents. She said she thought her work was also the AI. So maybe there's something. I mean, she definitely has a lot of magic on the board. She's got runes and not talismans, but sigils. She's got runes and sigils drawn all over the place. She's clearly trying a scientific method with this magic to see if she can replicate some of the processes. But when we see that little bit of corruption come up her arm, that is a clear indication that she made a deal with Mephisto.
Yeah.
And I was totally thinking that she had figured it out. She had hacked magic. And then I saw the little corruption. I was like, oh, she made a deal. Damn, Riri.
The other thing that made me think potential alternate dimension was the post credit scene, because you telling me Zelma and them worked on this suit to help Riri and nobody had a picture of what this dude looked like. So when he walks in your
One more
shop,
day.
yeah.
Sorry.
So when he walks in, so when Anthony Ramos walks
Okay.
into the shop after you've helped Riri defeat him, you
You don't
helping him with magic
immediately.
now. So that's why I'm like, it's either
Well,
got to be time travel or alternate dimension or something, because whatever is happening has to be before
Yeah.
Riri and Anthony Ramos's character even met, or before Riri met Zerlina. But maybe it's one
So
of those
maybe
things like,
Zelma helped him get them, but he had the marks on his
well, that's
I was
what
gonna
I
face.
say
what no, but what
he
I was
still
gonna
had the,
say was maybe Mephisto still has a deal with him, so he could have
Yeah.
transported him and Riri to wherever. You know what I mean? It ain't just like we
Yeah.
done. Like we not done.
oh, see, this is why we okay. See, now immediately I need to season 2 because now I got questions I didn't have before. Damn.
Or he brought her back, or to add
He could go to Zelda
another
like,
little.
I know for a fact this girl knows magic. She knows the
Right.
magic. I know, you know what I mean?
Right.
But see, even the way
There's
when he,
powerful magic over here, and I know that because of where I was. So I'm
but
gonna go
see
to her for her to help
when
me
when
defeat
he
Riri.
walks he walks in with the hearsay like I heard this is the place to go, but you know what I'm saying, like you ain't gonna get it with parlor tricks. Like I need supreme magic. You know, clearly giving that indication, and she gives that little knowing glance, like it's a facial expression I can't explain, but it's the one when you know the person that they're framing on understands what's being said, and then they
Yeah.
close out and fade to black. She gives that knowing look right there in that moment, and it was right after he said he needed supreme magic. Now they've already made reference to like Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, the whole bit.
Even
So
Wanda.
yeah, even Wanda. So it's like clearly they're on the right path, and they've made it very clear that he showed up there because maybe that's where the focus. That's a ley line, and that's where the focus of magic was for that area, or maybe his scars didn't hurt as much when he was by that building. Because he said when he didn't have the cloak, it hurts. You know what I'm saying? So maybe there was less pain when he was in the vicinity of that. It does raise the question. It does raise the question, though. How was he? If it was just the two of them,
that's true.
Yeah. If it was just the two of them that got transported to this alternate dimension, and they're in this other world, is he now on his redemption arc? Because technically, the corruption that's in his body is no different than when she was making the reference to Calcius.
I think he's just trying to get back to where he was at. He didn't really seem redemptive.
No.
he seemed like a crackhead looking for a rock.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
addicted.
So he's just looking for a
Facts.
fix, or is he looking to heal himself? Because
Well,
I read
and
that.
like,
I
okay,
read
so
that as
does
he was
this
going
have
to see
anything
Zelda
to
to
do
heal him.
with?
The whole thing
Does
about
this
when
have
you get
anything to
power,
do with
you gotta
Doctor
use them
Strange's cape?
I
Like,
wonder
are they
about that
the
too.
same thing?
all.
Hold on, repeat that, Brandy. What was that?
Is Doctor Strange's cape the same kind of cape? Like,
His cape,
is that the,
is sentient, and his cape does possess, like, it possesses the powers of flight, and it has an autonomy.
right? But
some
like,
degree.
could it be co-opted? Is what I'm saying, because that may be something in the next Doctor Strange movie. I don't know. I'm just trying,
No, I'm with it. Like, definitely,
because they're talking about Sorcerer
we can
Supreme. They're
spitball
talking
all day.
about,
I mean,
Right.
even with Strange Academy, and
okay.
elaborate,
So he did. Okay, so he said you're right.
elaborate, Mark.
Obviously.
Elaborate for me.
Okay.
What is Jeff right about? Because Jeff always think he like why is he
Because
right?
I know a crackhead
What?
when I see one.
Right.
And I know when they're looking for the rock, and I know when they're looking for a fresh
Okay,
start.
so that's
Right.
two people. That's two
Right.
people saying like he's desperate to
No,
feel
it's
better.
It's three because he just didn't have the demeanor of someone who was trying to redeem himself.
And I get that.
Seemed like he was up to something.
That motherfucker
Right,
came
I'm
in.
trying to
This motherfucker
find-
walked in a candy store wearing all black with the hood up, like
With the
"Hey,
hood
man,
on,
I'm looking-
right?
bro. I'm just looking for some magic, dog.
He's peeling on
But
stars
okay,
and shit.
okay.
Like,
I got
What's
these
about magical
cheeseburgers.
being? I heard you know something.
Y'all know I'm the eternal hero. I was just trying to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I looked at that scene and I
Stop
said to
giving people
myself,
the benefit of the doubt.
I
Right.
looked at that scene and I said to myself that he's like when I said a moment ago, he doesn't have the hood on. He says it hurts. He's walking in. He's got his head down. His hands are in his glove, and he's looking for somebody that can do magic. He finds this place where people can do magic, and he needs strong magic because he knows that strong magic has already happened to him. I'm thinking he's wanting to be healed. He wants to be not necessarily redeemed, and maybe I misspoke when I said that. He doesn't want these scars anymore. He's got all these crazy tattoos to try to cover up these scars. So he's obviously been ashamed of it this whole time. He hadn't just embraced having all this stuff happen to him. He's been trying to hide it. He's been trying to mask it. He wants the power. He wants the authority. True enough. He doesn't have the hood. And now because it hurts, he doesn't want the pain anymore. What can I do to be rid of the pain?
Even
I
when
didn't
he's
admit-
outside, to me, he's putting the hood up and he's peeping around corners, like, acting guilty.
there you go.
He was
And
looking
then when he
shifty. I'm not going to
walked
deny.
in,
I won't
because of
deny.
his demeanor when he walked in, I was like, immediately I was like, you better leave my girl Zelma alone. Better not mess
Right.
with Zelma. Even before he started talking,
Right.
like, I need this. Whatever. Like, Jeff knows a crackhead when he
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It just felt like I'm with Teresa. When he came in, it felt menacing. I didn't know what he was
It
going to
did.
do.
It did. I will admit that. I do. I will say that I looked at him and I was kind of like,
He came in there like
We
a
in danger,
troll,
girl.
like a troll on a
Like-
path.
It was crackish.
yes,
There you go.
there was a definite
Definitely crack.
mission. There was a definite mission to his pace that I won't deny. But like I said, I looked and I just thought to myself, that because they made it such a point to focus on him saying that it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. It faded to black, and they still showed the subtitles with him saying it hurts. That to me was an indication that the cost of this magic is not only the loss of this power, but it is physically painful.
Right, but
And
that
so,
also he wants that back. He
Right.
doesn't want to hurt anymore, but not because he wants to redeem himself. He wants it back because
It's
he
like
stop,
likes
stop
Gollum.
all of
It's
focusing.
the
like Gollum without the
Stop
ring.
focusing on the redeem.
This
Stop
man
focusing on the
Sam,
redeem.
Right.
This is not
No.
Clark Kent.
No, stop. Don't do that.
He
Don't do
want
that.
he want that old thing
Uh-uh.
back.
Don't do
Right.
that.
Nah, y'all
He
not gonna
want to
get into
put he
that.
want to
Nah,
put his lips
not
on that
not
pipe
11-13.
and
You're
suck
not.
that crack smoke into his
And
lungs.
listen to me.
Crack
I
was
get
well
that a
hurt,
crackhead. Y'all got some more of that magic. I understand that. Don't get me wrong. I comprehend that point, and that's why I'm like,
See?
don't get stuck on the redemption. We ain't talking about redemption. This
Right.
man has straight up, like, he murdered that one dude in cold blood because he got mad. This is not the redeemable person. I'm not talking. Forget redemption. He looked like he was about to start crying on the floor when she took the hood off of him because he was in pain.
Yeah,
Now,
crackheads do that.
I know people who have
You ever
been in
seen a
that kind
crackhead
of-
with a broke stem? It's
I
amazing.
haven't. I
To
have
be
not
fair,
seen
he
a
was
crackhead
already
with a broke
dimension
stem.
hopping though, because remember when the cape would disappear out of the jar?
You know what it was like when the crackhead, somebody finally get a crackhead a couple dollars and he get to go inside the convenience store and get something. They try to be a little bit professional, but it's like you still on crack, bro. Go ahead and buy your chips,
All right.
get your drink.
Okay, cool.
But-
He was just going looking for his next fix. Never mind that the man was in pain and didn't want to hurt no more. That couldn't be it at all. He
Why
was
you think they
clearly
be smoking crack? That's for the same
These
reason.
things
So
can be
they-
true. Crackheads hurt
So
when
they-
they don't have their crack.
Yeah.
There you
They
go.
suffer.
Right.
There you go.
Rick. I like that. I like that better because at least that isn't just like, oh, let me get some crack. Like he's trying to get back to his hood. That's his addiction. He wants his hood back, and he figures these people know Riri and they can get him to the hood. I can accept that.
Don't be mad at the crack.
Yeah, we do about the rejection. Yeah,
Mhm.
which is crazy when you think about it. Like
But-
that was
no, but-
not
But we also
like
said
the dad.
that
I
was
was
not
like,
going to
oh,
be the.
I mean, I hate when they freaking humanize the villain, but also
Right.
I was like, I mean, I get it. Your dad is the terriblest person that ever walked on the face of the earth.
When his father
Like,
said, "I didn't
yeah.
want to," I was like, "Damn."
For real, right? He
Like
just
that.
straight up was like,
Let's see.
you can
I
go
come
now.
in 2 hours without a conversation.
That's
This is great.
true. That's very true. Because like Sam said, if you only watched the first 3 episodes and then didn't come back for the next 3, you really missed a lot of the things that y'all complained about. Everybody, I guess, not
Yeah.
y'all, but everybody complained about in the first 3 episodes. And it was like Sam said, it was like we all sat around and was like, this is what needs to happen. And Disney was like, you right.
It was like, you know what? Oh, write that down. That's great. Get that. You know what? They just shot all of this last week.
I do think though it has been.
As soon as we logged off, they was like,
I do think it has been cool to see like the black response to like people trying to like do the like tanking it and the low scores on Rotten Tomatoes, and I feel like we kind of just been like, all right, like motherfucker, I don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes anyway. Like,
right.
Thank you.
Right. I don't
Like,
even know what a
I'm a
Rotten
real
Tomato
im-
is. You good?
like Rotten Tomatoes is a site for white people to talk about how they feel about stuff. So if white people don't like Ironheart, I don't really care.
There you
Make
go.
some rotten. Never mind.
It's not even
Rotten
that.
Okra.
Like I said
Rotten
last
Okra.
week,
Rotten
it's not
Okra.
that
I
you
get it.
don't like the show, but like
get it. It's
what's
5
his name
cornbread
last week
muffins.
where he was like, I watched 10 minutes, but I hate the show. The characters are
There you go.
terrible. The exposition is awful. The story is awful. I watched 10 minutes.
Right.
Right.
We're gonna
I
make
will
dry
say,
cornbread.
I had actually had a conversation. I was telling somebody I was at work and we were talking about the show, and they asked me like, have you talked about it? I was like, oh man, we had a great conversation about it. I've been enjoying the show. It was so good. I was like, we had somebody on the other night. You gotta watch that episode. And I was just kind of telling them about some of the things that our viewer was talking about, and then I was like, and the crazy part, like we almost messed up because we was really ready to go in on this person, and then this person like kind of let go that they had not watched the entire episode. They had only gotten through like 10 minutes of the first episode, and that changed the whole demeanor of the conversation. Like, I can't even have a conversation with you. You don't even have the information to be able to discuss this. You were literally just coming in, giving me all the reasons, arms, as Jeff would say, you just coming in arms crossed about why you don't want to watch the show. You can't even talk articulately about what you didn't like. You just
expecting us to do, I don't know what, to convince them. Well, convince me. No,
bitch. If you want to watch it, watch it.
Me to watch the show because I don't care if you watch the show. Don't watch it. No.
Wait.
Watch it. It's not
Make
for you.
me
It's
feel
okay.
important.
Glitch, please. Like, I'm not. Either
I'm not gonna do that. No, don't watch it. Some things ain't for everybody. Shoot.
So convince me like one of your French girls. Like what?
Whoa.
No, I'm sorry. I don't
like,
care.
I'm not doing that, player.
Watch the show.
Like, I don't care if you watch the show. It's a good show. So you not watching it is you missing out, not me. I watched it.
Hey.
I had fun.
No, I absolutely.
But I think about that in a lot of instances. Like, I know people, and I'm not even just talking about like Black people. I'm talking about poor people. I've grown up in a very multicultural. I live in Nebraska. It is what it is. I know people who, for lack of money, and that's the only reason that they aren't crazy inventors or crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like when you look at like not Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, and he's like, yeah, no, my family gave me a loan of $40,000 or whatever back in the early '90s when it would be like 150 now. You know what I mean? Like, I know people who, if you gave them the seed money to do something, they could absolutely give you something amazing.
Let me tell you, let me just throw this out there. If there's an angel investor watching the show right now, Elder Geek Sam is looking for an angel. I need seed money of about 200,000. I got some. It's gonna be great. I will fly folks out for the grand opening. Let's make it happen. I absolutely understand that, and Riri even makes mention in the series. And for those of you who have at least followed the MCU, we've said it before. I'll say it again. When Riri was given the resources in Wakanda to make whatever she needed to make, she made an amazing fucking suit. An amazing suit. When she was given the grant money to make a suit, and those resources were kind of flowing in because she was one of the Tony Stark grant recipients at MIT, she made a really, really impressive. That was the white power suit she has in the first episode. She made a really impressive suit then. When it came down to it, and all she had was the tools in her shop and the car from her dad, we got the best suit in the whole damn series. Let me tell you how, once again, and this was all I could think, and I kind of mentioned this to the wife, and we had a quick little chuckle about it. But once again, we looking at how a Black woman is doing the most with the least. And I was here for it, and I loved it, and it was fantastic, and it was amazing to see on screen. So, yeah, if she had that silver spoon, there'd be no stopping Riri Williams. That would be the damn what's the what if episode where Riri Williams was like well into the future.
Yeah,
that's what we would get.
I think too, even with like how that question was framed, it's like
Yes,
think about how frustrating it is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, I could tell you exactly how frustrating it is, to be an artist and not be able to take any art classes till you get to high school because there's no art classes in the schools you go to, and you don't
Yeah.
have the resources to like you really do a lot of stuff just on your own in your with your own motivation, self-taught, self-motivated, and you go into these spaces, and when you can stand toe to toe with other people who have had the silver spoon in their mouth, it bothers them. It bothers them that you know your strength extends a little bit beyond just being a feel good story, but being like someone who is actually like on their level and got there with like less help and less resources. And so I think that 100% is how people look at Riri compared to like an Iron Man. And it's like, well, where did Iron Man get his money? He's not self-made. His daddy built Stark. Like, and then what did he do with the money once he got it? And it took what type of
Squandered.
life-changing event did it take for him to have to see the error of his ways and use his intellect and his genius and his funds towards something that was not destructive? Meanwhile, Riri's first instinct is, how can I build this thing that helps people? Now she's going about it the wrong way,
Yeah.
but at its core, her motivation, her catalyst was using her intellect and her skills and her talent to
To help and
overcome the
protect.
lack of resources to help and protect people in
Yeah.
places that don't have those kinds of resources. So I think like the motivation sometimes is the thing that can bridge the gap between insufficient and sufficient like materials. Like you'll make a way because you like, no, I gotta do this to help people. It's not just like I'm making the suit for fun. Me and my homies, we're just gonna fly around, see what we can get into. It's like, no, like I'm making something that I feel like my community needs, and I will strip every car down on the street
Right.
if I gotta, build a thing that's gonna actually help my community. So I think,
It's
it
always
is,
that way. It's the same way they celebrate bootleggers and hate drug dealers.
yeah.
Like
I don't want to. I'm tired of addressing
whatever you got
people
to
that
do what you got to do to get what you need to get when you're in dire straits is whatever
yeah.
you got to do. So like
Yeah, for sure.
people's judgment, like, well, Riri turned to doing crime. Well, when you're in a desperate situation and in dire straits, and somebody comes to you and says, here's this amount of money.
So what should she have
It's
done?
not a lot of people
I
that's
mean,
not going to take that. I've seen people that you would think would have more integrity than what they have be swayed by money that is like, that's not even a huge amount of money to force you to
But
I mean,
it's
I
act
will
in
say,
your
I will say,
principles.
in regards to that, I will say that I'm not necessarily going to justify her choice. I'm not. I don't like her choice. You know what I'm saying? Like this part of her character flaw is that she
in a
is. She
box
has done
in a
some things.
cave.
She has she has done some things that I've considered selfish. She has been manipulative. They've pointed these things out. I'm not necessarily trying to be a champion for Riri. I'm not trying to be that. I understand she's flawed. This is an opportunity. She's fucking 20 years old.
I was
She's
about to say
learning.
she's still a
You know what
kid.
I'm saying? Like
And by God, if we
she's
could extend
making
grace to Kate Bishop,
right. She's making young people
What
mistakes.
Kate do?
Catching
she's as good
strays
as
out
all
here.
Hawkeye.
time
That's
out.
what she did.
All Kate did
She's
was work her
good
ass
as
off to be the
Hawkeye.
best archer in the world.
I'm just
She
saying
is, she is that
she's made
at
young people
whatever
mistakes.
20 years old or whatever she's supposed to be.
Right? Like she's making young people mistakes.
When you got it, you got it.
Right.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm tired of addressing people that have an issue with her intelligence and her abilities. For any other in a universe where there are people like this that exist. Like if you have a fucking problem with that, you got a fucking problem with that because she's black. Fucking say it. And shut the fuck up. Can we move forward? Right? Like I'm addressing these people is a waste of damn energy because They don't get it. They don't fucking get it. You know
Because
what I'm
you
saying?
see what happens. Last week was a perfect example. Everything that we addressed, the goalpost was then moved.
Exactly.
Well, I didn't like the show because I didn't like blah blah blah. Oh, well, you didn't like this. Why didn't you like that? And then it was, well, I didn't. But Marvel hasn't been doing things that in the last, they're Marvel sucks. Oh, so you want to talk about Marvel and not the show? Well, no, because you see what I'm saying. It's just it
Right.
doesn't make like when you address people like that, they just want the attention. And you see at the
And that's
very
why I
end of
don't
that, what
address
did he
them.
say? I just wanted to get you guys out of your echo chamber. I'm just here to stir things up. Oh, is that what you're here for? Oh, okay. Aren't you a
But
special
see, I
friend?
do think sometimes though, like I think we can address those people without allowing them to dominate the conversation. Because like even the guy
Yeah.
last week, we were like addressing the things that they were saying, but once we realized that they'd only watched 10 minutes, it's like, okay, the way we're going to address you and your comments is different because you're not speaking from a place of actual like knowledge because you
Right.
didn't watch the show. But I do think sometimes we do get into this like they're not even worth my response, and then it just start being more and more of them getting together thinking that they right because nobody has
You're
said,
right.
yo, you wilding right now. Now I'm not saying that's everybody's struggle, everybody's
She
battle
was.
fight. I'm not saying everybody got to fight that battle every single time it comes up because I do think it's more important for us to talk about how well done the show was, even if we have
Right.
issues. Actually, critiquing the actual media, critiquing the art is more important. But
Absolutely. Like I
when
said, RG was justified in saying, I felt
yeah,
like these needed more character development. I feel like that is a valid criticism of what you watched. You know what I
right,
mean? Like, okay, let's discuss that. Let's talk about that. That is reasonable. But being
yeah.
like, well, I prefer, straight hair and not afro texture. Like,
Speaking
It's
of
like,
which,
well,
how did you
you're
feel about
stupid.
Lil Man coming back
Who
with the
says
wagon?
black people? Hi, black
Right.
people.
Speaking
I
of which,
feel like, a critique, people have, it's art, right? Everybody's not going to dig the same art. Like everybody's not going to feel the same way. And if you don't like something, it's okay to be like, yeah, I didn't like that, or no, I
Yeah.
didn't agree with that, or no, that's not how I saw it. Because I don't feel like anybody's
Here's
wrong when it
why
comes to
Marvel has
art.
completely missed the boat and their empire is falling.
Like
Black women.
when
It's
they
like,
when they
bruh,
say that, I'm like, but I liked Far From Home, and I liked, you know what I mean? Like there's been stuff that I've
well,
liked
you don't
since.
know anything about movies.
so question, and oh, it was perfect because I was just about to ask,
All right.
and Costa's bringing it up right as I was going to say it. The little boy cracked me up. So was Landon going to be the downfall of the MCU? RG, I specifically want to ask you because we had more scenes
I want to go
with the
upside
little
his
Yeah,
boy
head.
he did.
who,
He had
who
a whole
randomly
wagon.
who randomly showed back up to collect on his wagon. It was like, you owe me about $600 now.
You know something? His 94 seconds of screen time did not bother me.
Okay.
So
Okay,
I did
because now
not.
you
I was
had
not. I'm not. I'm not.
now
I'm not
you had
gonna.
an appropriate connection to Gary, and
This
he was not a
time.
distraction.
There you go.
Okay,
There you go.
you know what? That is 100% valid, sir.
There you go.
And
Okay.
so here's a legit question,
My last
and
shit was valid.
I will throw it to the whole group. Here's a question that's like just to everybody. Do you think having the flashback scene with Gary earlier in the season would have changed the impact of the story, or would it have
Yes.
had a different impact on the story?
Yes.
Got one yes. I say that it would have. Okay, so that's a no. And Brandy?
I don't know that it would have. It's the same. It would have had the same emotional impact either way.
Right. I'm
Okay.
okay with the way that it happened.
Okay. No. And to clarify, and let me make sure that I'm clear with my question. Earlier, RG was saying that he needed that connection to Gary early.
But RG
No.
is special.
I wanted it more.
You're so touched.
Yes.
And I
you know I don't like shit. You know I don't like that shit.
I understand that. I understand that, and I
Put it in
appreciate that.
now.
But since you ended up getting that connection to Gary, and I mean, I'm not gonna say I was a mess, but that was a difficult episode to watch because I was like all in my feels at that point because I connected with Gary earlier just from seeing how Riri had connected with him and how she was feeling about it. So I was, I just let the empathy doors go wide open and accepted how she was feeling as how I'm supposed to feel and ran with that. Now they've given me reason to feel this way about this character. And I am questioning, I'm asking if we had gotten that connection to Gary earlier when you first mentioned it, instead of having that time with Landon in, say, episode 1.
I asked this question to you. Now that you've seen that episode with Gary, do you feel like that episode with Gary made you feel a bigger connection to Gary as the character?
I genuinely don't feel any differently about Gary seeing him dance with little Riri than I did when he was. The only addition that I got was the reaction from Mom. Given that Mom was standing right there and we got to see her reaction to seeing the hologram of Gary, that was the only extra emphasis that we got because Riri had the same reaction. She's had the same reaction the entire time. She doesn't refer to him as her stepdad. She says dad. So in her mind, that's dad. And that right there, I have a stepfather. I understood what that connection meant. Maybe subconsciously, maybe it was in the writing. I don't know. But I feel like the timing of when she made that connection herself, because she's been suppressing her emotions this entire time. And I feel like when we saw that reaction, yeah, where are his damn parents? When we saw that reaction from her, it came during a time where she needed to be reminded what she's even fighting for. Because she kind of lost sight of that, just getting wrapped up in what she's been doing and what's been going on. And she kind of forgot why she was doing all of this. And, Natalie, the AI even says, like, sometimes we work so hard to protect things, we forget what things are worth protecting, or to paraphrase horribly. But, you know what I'm saying? She's basically saying, like, you lost sight of why you're even doing all of this.
Yeah.
And so she watches that clip to remind her of, like, why this is important, why this is special. I don't think that I would have remembered that feeling in episode 1 or even early in episode 2.
Right.
For that to come back up in the last episode.
Well, I said earlier too, but
no, I was gonna say I think also the other part of it too is her avoidance was a big character thing. Right. So not seeing what she was actually avoiding by, holding off on not having a whole bunch of Gary in there until that moment, really, I think, because she was trying to avoid, like, it's the whole Inside Out story, right? Like, every memory can't just be good, because sometimes the sad memories also are attached to, like, good memories, and our feelings are hybrid and all that stuff like that. And I think that, she was kind of learning that same lesson where it's like, when you try to forget Gary, you're going to forget the good moments like this too. So rather than me have to feel like, Gary was ripped away from me, Natalie was ripped away from me, it's more just like, again, like I said last week, she's feeling what we're experiencing, kind of what she's feeling. And we're kind of seeing the avoidance, and it's being portrayed to us by us not getting that connection because Riri doesn't want to make that connection. And so when she's ready to make that connection, then we get to experience that with her. But we don't really get to experience anything unless she's ready to actually, like, experience it herself.
Right.
Yeah.
Good point.
Okay.
That's a good point. And I said earlier that when they put that flashback in, it was appropriate for the scene. I was completely fine with the current with that flashback, because it fit, it was appropriate, it made sense. So, despite the fact I may have wanted more earlier, I'm completely fine with why I didn't get it, and then how they got this in. It didn't feel shoehorned. It didn't feel forced. It felt like this was a natural progression in, okay, let's kind of show why she should. It was a memory that it showed she suppressed, because they asked her, do you remember about the iron? Do you remember why he called you that? Or why this is? And she said no. And because, she already had the brain scan, it was, here, I'm going to show you what you're not even willing to acknowledge yourself.
Right.
So I understood the context. So, go ahead.
For me, in the beginning, she had, even though it was like just the more basic flashback, she had a visceral enough reaction to that little brief flashback of Gary that I was good. I mean, I saw the effect it had on her, because that was really like one of the first times when she got so anxious that she was kind of losing control. Wow. And somebody had to calm her down. So I mean, I knew right then that Gary meant a lot to her. So and that was good enough for me until we got later in, and she needed to have more Evan in depth flashback and relationship with Gary.
Good point.
Yeah. Okay. That was just one of those moments, because I was kind of thinking about. Well, I was thinking about both parts together, because we had the little boy in his wagon, and I know you wanted to sacrifice some of his time, and honestly, I will say, like, admittedly, I've kind of rethought and looked at. I've rewatched episode 1 because I was at work today, and since I've already seen the episode, I was kind of like on my lunch break. I was like watching through episode 1. I was like, okay, there's any number of ways that the city getting over on her could have taken place. The fact that she crash landed, had to carry her suit and stuff, having a little kid there trying to hustle out of some money wouldn't have made a big difference in how she reacted and whatnot. And then, given that we don't see him again we see him in the next episode because she needs the wagon to, travel. But then he disappears and we don't see him again to the last episode.
I have to clock out. I'm sorry.
Bye, Brandy. We're wrapping up.
Yeah, we're actually getting ready to wrap right now. So I just want to thank everybody. And hey, we've enjoyed Ironheart. We hope you enjoyed Ironheart. Leave your comments below and let us know what you thought about it. Did Marvel actually stick the landing on this? Did they hit the mark this go round? I want to thank our guests who've been in the chat with us. Rick Costa, Mark the Beat. We had
Miles
Simmons and Kwaku. I want to thank everybody who's been in the chat. I want to thank the panel. I hope I said that right. I want to thank everybody who joined me tonight. We got the Hood of Hate. We got JPNT17. Riri, you in danger, girl. And, of course, insert cool nickname. I'm Elder Geek Sam. What's up, my glitches? Hey, we've been talking about Ironheart, the finale, episodes 4 through 6. We hope that you stick around. Be sure to click our QR code. Find us everywhere you can. We thank you for watching, but we are out of here. Peace.